Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chair Powell, in response to a question from Senator Warner and a question from Senator Sinema, Senator Warner more or less asserted that we're all in the same boat in terms of inflation globally, but you made the point on two different occasions that what's driving inflation in largely Europe, a little bit less so in the UK, has to do with spiraling energy prices. Could you talk a little bit about, beyond the pain at the gas pump and the increased cost of transportation, how increasing, and I should say, and I believe that Europe is where they are, this is not for you to comment on, because they moved a little bit too aggressively and didn't look at resiliency with some of their energy inputs that were largely affected by the Russia invasion. But could you talk a little bit about the other commodities that are affected by rising interest rates? We're talking about housing, and we know that pipes, a number of inputs to housing construction, have gone up. Can you talk a little bit more about the market basket of other commodities that are influenced by increasing energy prices?
I think energy prices go into an awful lot of different places in the economy, including, as an input into manufactured goods of all kinds, and plastics particularly, and things like that. So it's a big contributor to inflation, not beyond just actual energy prices.
Yeah, and so my only comment here, and then I just have a closing thought, is that we are unilaterally hamstringing your ability to bring inflation down. You don't have to respond to this. It's a policy position. By artificially increasing the cost of energy in this country. If we simply would recognize that there is a way to get to a transition to green renewable energy and make the glide path sustainable, we could easily separate ourselves from the rest of other Western democracies with respect to that tool, which is not in your toolbox. And hopefully we can get to that discussion and embrace the idea that the transition is inevitable. It's a matter of timing and resiliency in the meantime. Just one other question. I know the post-FOMC press conference, you ruled out a 100 basis point increase. Is that a long-term view or a view based on the circumstances as you see them today? In other words, would that be something potentially on the table if the measures that you're taking right now do not work out?
I think I would never take something off the table for any and all purposes. The committee that I chair will make whatever moves it believes are appropriate to restore price stability.
Okay. Well, I for one, am glad you're at the helm. I have a lot of confidence in you, which is why I voted for your confirmation. But we will be submitting some questions to the record back on the points that I made in the opening statement about transparency. There is some frustration, and I have to say it's bipartisan in terms of questions that we're asking and not getting answers to. The master account is one of them, but there are other items that we'll just include for the record. Thank you, Chair Powell. Thank you for serving.
Thank you, Senator Tillis, and thank you for your cooperation.